moving away from that. Like I see you sailing from it, and I feel like you're not doing it, you know, begrudgingly, where you are still mourning on the past. I don't sense that. I feel like the past has definitely laid the foundation for you to launch off and do something else. So, you know, with the yearly reading that I did in January, I feel like there are some steep learning curves that are going to occur for you. And I feel like the next phase in your life that's are going to require a lot more discipline from your end, and to learn new skills, to implement something new, to absorb technical information, and to do things in a more procedural, in a more technical manner. So I sense that coming through. And I feel a lot of movement with you, where you might be physically relocating, or you might be, you know, moving from one place to the next. And I do sense the new place, the new environment. If you are traveling, you're going to meet some really amazing people, okay? They're going to be very friendly, very talkative, and I do feel like they're attractive, okay? You're going to get a lot of good, positive reception, and people being receptive to the information that you're giving them, to your communication style. So I feel like you're meeting people that are jiving really well with your own personal goals and your own personal interests, professionally, but even on the personal front as well, okay? What I'm also sensing is, I feel, let me pull out one more for this. I feel like there's a lot of talking. I feel like a lot of information being exchanged, a lot of talking, a lot of other people, new love interests, new friends, new group associations coming through for you. There's a lot of new energy because you've ended a major significant phase in your life and you're starting something over. And as a result of it, I feel like a lot of people are coming in already. You know, there are a lot of people here. And I feel like some of them are going to be different from you. So, of course, when we're dealing with people, you know, people come from all walks of life with their own life experiences, and possibly even with their own emotional baggage, and also their own motives and personal agendas. So being a little bit more open-minded is going to be, it's going to help win you some contracts, help you win over friends, and create like alliances, okay? So don't be judgmental for this month, no matter what. Judgment is the last thing that you want to embody right for this month, mainly because we are dealing with Mercury in retrograde until the 22nd of this month. And the first impression, what you see is not always what you get. So just be very open-minded, okay? The last thing we want when we are starting a new phase in our lives is to make like presumptions. So that's the one thing I want you to be very, very careful about, okay? Don't try to fit people into little compartmentalized, you know, boxes. Don't try to categorize. Don't try to fit people in these existing molds that we have, okay? So I feel like you might have to break out of your comfort zone. You might have to break out of these molds that you've set yourself in, that you put other people in. And I feel like people are bringing a lot of surprising good news. The people that you're dealing with seems to me to be very very abundant. I feel like they're very attractive. I feel like they're very like welcoming, very friendly, and you're gonna learn a lot from that interaction that you have with them, okay? So keep yourself open-minded. Keep yourself like very, very I would say, there's no other word for it, but you know, just don't make any assumptions is like my advice for this month, okay? I feel like you might shoot off at the hips, or you know, sometimes when you meet a new person and they say something where it sounds weird and you're just like, oh, that person is not very intelligent. I don't feel that that's the right framework to adopt when dealing with new people, dealing with new information for this month, okay? So don't cast judgments just yet. You don't have all the information, so it's best for you not to make a decision too prematurely for this month. So Libras, let's go into your reading, and let me straighten out the cards, see if there's anything else that I'm sensing. I feel like a lot of intellectual communication and just a lot of objective, factual, technical information that you're dealing with. Things aren't you know, like it's not so much an emotional month. It's more like a lot of things happening, a lot of casual and also like rapid communication, and a lot of people are here. But I don't feel like it's an emotional month. It's more. So let's go into your first spread here. We do have the Prince of Wands as well as the Four of Pentacles. Now, the Prince of Wands indicates excitement, new voyage, new journey. This is the energy that you are embodying, I feel, and it's actually rare to see Libra as an air sign embodying the energy of a fire sign. But what this indicates to me is movement, a lot of momentum coming into your life, a lot of exciting opportunities that are there for the taking. And I feel like you are heading into the new journey, the new phase in your life in a very, very enthusiastic manner. A lot of you might be physically relocating. A lot of you are trying to explore your territory, because this is a card about the adventurer, someone who's very fearless, very bold, and they're out looking for fun and excitement as well, okay? So this is the energy that you're bringing to the table. We do have the Four of Pentacles, and the Four of Pentacles indicates a situation where financially you might not have the means to achieve your dreams just yet, okay? So there's still a little bit of budgeting that needs to take place, a little bit of bookkeeping, a little bit of like managing what's coming in and what's coming out when it comes to your pocketbook and when it comes to your financial resources. I feel that you have enough, you have more than enough, I feel. You're in a space of abundance, but it's telling you not to be extravagant. You're still very, very conservative when it comes to, you know, your financial resources. What I'm also sensing as well is a lot of you, you're starting on like, you're exploring some area. So I feel like it's a new environment. You're really just ecstatic to be here. And there's a lot to do, a lot of people to do the meet and greet with, and a lot of new territory to explore, to conquer. You know, like a lot of things that need to be done is what I'm feeling, but it's done in a spirit of excitement. So you're in a really happy, excitable state right now. But I feel like I'm feeling like for a lot of you, there's fear. You know, there's fear about letting go. There's fear about not having that safety net, that security blanket. So you're still holding on to old ways that might hinder your ability to really embrace the new journey, the new part of your life. So just something to keep in mind about, okay? But I do feel finances is something that you are thinking about. You're saving up for some type of a big ticket item is what I'm sensing. You're saving up for something, possibly even building up your investment portfolios, or possibly saving up a huge chunk of money. And I feel like in order to do something, okay? So I feel like you're saving up because you're seeing that there is going to be a big expenditure in the works for you. In terms of your financial situation, we do have the Nine of Pentacles as well as the Prince of Swords. So first of all, let's talk about this as an energy. The Prince of Swords, this is a person that is very, very creative. They're very courageous. They're very articulate and very intelligent, okay? So this can be you or another air sign, okay? But let me just read this as you. So the Prince of Swords is someone who charts new territory, and they're very bold and just, you know, they will go where others fear to tread. So this is kind of like rushing first, ask questions later. But they're also very intelligent, and they get in a lot of good, you know, intuitive messages. So they know where they need to go, and they're pretty well protected, I feel. And, you know, they're geared up for battle as well. So I feel like for a lot of you, on the financial front, you're just really ready, okay? And financially, with the Nine of Pentacles, this usually indicates like somebody who is self-employed. They have the luxury of letting their resources build up over time. So they might have investment portfolios. They might work on a client basis, you know. They might have a very lax work schedule, and they might like be able to come and go as they please because their work schedule is very flexible. It usually indicates having that type of flexibility in your work environment where you're able to come and go as you please, where you're also able to like dictate what other people need. So both of these things indicate to me that a lot of you might be wanting to shift into the work environment that provides more flexibility, more flexible hours. So you might shift into a main source of employment opportunity to like being a consultant and work for yourself. A lot of you might shift from like traditional work into, you know, self-employment as well, where you're going to invest in things and let your assets grow forward. for you. Overall, I feel like financially, I feel like you definitely have enough, okay? And it's telling you to be very, very careful, very methodical when it comes to investment for this month, because I feel like you might rush in too fast without all the facts. So that's the first thing. The other thing I'm sensing is there is somebody that is really inspirational in your life. I feel like I feel like there's a sense of attraction here. Not in a romantic way, but I feel like it's more like, it seems to me like you might know somebody who's self-employed and their lifestyle, you know, they travel all the time. They might be in and out like constantly. And you're really admiring that lifestyle and you're trying to get yourself financially to that point where you can emulate the lifestyle that they have. You might be dealing with another air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And this could just also be just your energy trying to get yourself financially stable. So I feel like you're building something and you're walking along, definitely along the right path in order for you to achieve this goal of yours, okay? So I feel like there's a lot of communication back and forth about self-employment gigs and self-employment opportunities, or working, shifting to a client base. So you're shifting, you're driving, I see you moving around to meet clients, to meet other people that you work for, or to work in a consultancy basis. So in terms of, let me see, this is a relationship. I feel like this might be a relationship here. We do have the Queen of Wands and the Five of Pentacles. We talked about your financial situation. Okay, so we have the Queen of Wands as well as the Five of Pentacles. Now, the Five of Pentacles, when it comes up in a non-finance type of a thing, it usually denotes a situation that is very, very karmic. I read this as the massive karma card, okay? And it usually indicates something that is coming in from the external environment into our lives, and we don't really have much control over the way that it plays out. However, we do have great control, great power over how we react to a certain situation. So a lot of you might be dealing with a fire sign. So this is a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. This person is coming in as a fire sign. They are somebody who's a little bit aggressive. They seem to me to like know who they are. They're like, you know, somebody that might be in a managerial position. They have a high status. Although a lot of people look up to them. They're very like, their communication is very directed. I feel like they are quite caring. They are successful in their field. And I definitely feel that the way that you communicate with this person, you both do not see eye to eye with one another. But I definitely feel there is a lot of mutual care and assistance and affection being exchanged between you and this person. For some of you, it could just be like a manager, a higher up, somebody that you're working with, someone that has like some type of influence and control over you. And I feel like for a lot of you, you might be wanting to wow them with your intelligence. You might want to win them over. You admire this person. And for other, like if you admire this person, I feel like for others of you, this person is very distant, okay? So normally with fire signs, you know, they're very like, wear their hearts on their sleeves and just very friendly, outgoing. I feel like they are all of these things. But when it comes to personal relationships, they're very like hands off. They're very like, you know, they're very good about demarcating boundaries. So especially if this is somebody in the professional environment, I feel like you're going to feel a little bit smitten by this person. There's this sense almost like your soul recognizes the other person from a previous life. That's what I'm feeling with this karma card. And it basically indicates to me that as well, that you might be somewhat financially linked up with another, like a fire sign, either via children, expenses, joint assets, and things like that. And it's basically saying that there is a karmic link. There are cords of attachment as it relates to this person. And I do feel that for good or bad, you are going to have to decide what you need to do. And I feel like this might be somebody that you've had a long history with, and you're trying to, you know, they might hit some rough times, a rough patch in their lives, and they might come in and need assistance from you. But the nature of this person is that they're very, very proud. So I feel like you're going to have to read between the lines, and you're going to have to like let your walls down, okay, so that they can approach you. If they need help or something like that, I feel like they're really proud and they're going to skirt beat around the bush, and it's really important for you to be a little bit more emotionally sensitive and delicate when dealing with this person for this month, okay? In terms of your communication, we do have the Princess of Swords as well as the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands indicates a new house move, a new house environment, and a very, very harmonious state of living, okay? So for a lot of you, you might simply have a lot of communications when it comes to people that you are living with within your household. This can be, family members in the house environment that you grew up in, or a lot of, I feel like, people that you are currently living with right now as roommates, as like housemates, or even a new situation that you're dealing with. What I'm feeling is there is an air sign here, an Aquarius, a Gemini, and a Libra, and this could be your energy as well. That is being brought into the fold, okay? So you might be seeing somebody, you might bring them into the fold, you might be moving in to live with them as roommates, as strictly platonic roommates. What I'm also feeling is there's a lot of discussions about marriage, there's a lot of discussions about engagement, taking relationships to the next level, wanting to create more of a commitment. And I feel like for a lot of you, you are definitely not at the point where you're ready and you're committed. So if you are in a relationship with another person and they're, wanting to take things to the next level, and they're telling you, how do you feel about marriage and motherhood, fatherhood, having children, and, growing old together, I feel like a lot of you are at a point where you're very, very much career oriented and very, ambitious when it comes to accumulating a lot of wealth for yourself, that you might not feel like you're ready. So you might feel like anxious about having this conversation with another person, because you feel that you're just not ready, and you feel that there's a lot of things that's going to restrict your movement and your freedom when it comes to settling down and having another relationship. A lot of you also, I feel like you have gotten out of a relationship that you've been in with for quite some time, and you're trying to break free, you're trying to live the life, you're trying to enjoy yourself, and you're trying to grab opportunities when they come in, so you don't really want the restrictions of that type of a relationship anymore, okay? But overall, I do feel a house move that might have happened for a lot of you. And I feel like whatever house you moved into, it looks really nice. Like I feel like big gardens. I feel a lot of people and a lot of big gardens coming through, okay? And I feel like a very strong... I feel like a very strong woman connected with your household environment, a very strong, determined, and solid woman, okay? Like not just a girl, not just someone who's like wishy-washy, but someone who's quite alpha, associated with your house environment. And I feel likewise, it could be a male, but some very alpha energy in your home environment, okay? And I do sense there might be a little bit of an ego clash between you and that person. So just be very careful. Don't make any judgments, and, give people the benefit of the doubt this month, okay? Be very, very, very diplomatic. I feel like you're going to be, the energy is trying you for this month, but be very diplomatic, okay? In terms of your advice, we do have the Hierophant. The Hierophant is coming through as an advice. This is a card about conservatism, okay? So there's nothing wrong with it, just depending on what context you're using it in. So this is a card about family, tradition, institution, working in a capacity where you're going to have to obey the law, you're going to have to obey rules, you're going to have to obey whatever procedure that has been there before you, even though they're inefficient, even though you feel like there are better ways to do this and there are shortcuts that you've already created for yourself. It's really important to follow everything to the T and to do things in a very methodical, in a very I guess like predictable manner, okay? So this is not the month for you to branch off and play the wild card. I feel like you have a lot of energy. You have a huge sense of individualism and wanting to explore, wanting to like rock the boat a little bit. And I don't usually get this for Libras. Libras are very like balanced people. So I don't know what's going on with you guys. You might be in the presence of someone who's very alpha, and they are exuding a huge influence on you where they want you to break the rules a little bit or bend the rules and be a little bit more adventurous. So I feel like this energy is permeating your emotional state and also your work environment. So be very, very conservative when it comes to work and follow procedures, follow things to a T. By the end of the month, like towards the very last week of the month, if it's absolutely not working for you, then you can, you know, have a discussion about it. But I feel like try it, implement it, and just, you know, go with the flow. Do what everyone else does and just rough it out until the end of the month. Then if it's not working, you can go back and revise. But at least push through that Mercury in retrograde. Is going to end on the 22nd. And then you can, you know, go back and revise things to make them better, to make them more efficient, okay? So one of the things that's going to be frustrating for you this month is dealing with bureaucracy, dealing with big institutions. So this can be government institutions, this can be, you know, school institutions. But the way that they're doing things is very slow, very methodical, very detail oriented, and I feel like they're missing the big picture. So that's going to be a frustrating thing for you to work within, okay? So there are some limits, restrictions coming through, and I feel that for a lot of you, it might just be simply financial restrictions, okay? A lot for others of you, it might just be like dealing with people who are very, very different from you, and they do things a different way, and they're really fixed and rigid in their way, so they're not going to change, so you might butt heads a little bit. And speaking of butting heads, we do have the conflict card coming through here. This is a card about valor, about self-defense, and about standing up for the things that you believe in. And one of the things I would say here is, you know, the messages seem very conflicting, right? So you have here order and tradition, and you have here defending your beliefs, right? And in the middle, we have the Seven of Pentacles, which is a card about assessment, okay? So what it's telling you here is, you know, honestly, you're coming into opposition with another person, and I feel like it might be a fire sign, a Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo, and this person is really strong in themselves. I feel like they know what they know, and they're going to defend it, and you're going to be put in a position where you are going to have to defend yourself as well. So you can't just be, you know, sitting on the fence. You are going to have to prove, like, this is what I believe, and here's the empirical evidence as to why I believe what I believe in. And I feel like you're going to get a lot of I don't feel like it's criticism, but I feel like you're going to get a lot of follow-up questions. No matter what you say, people are going to ask you a lot of follow-up questions, and I feel like that's going to frustrate you because, you know, when other people express like a different point of view or dissent to whatever your view is, you always are very diplomatic, and you try to ask them, like, to understand where they're coming from. I feel like this new crowd that you're dealing with, especially for this month, they're a little bit more argumentative, and they're trying to, like, to get you to convince them. And, you know, like, and you feel that information exchange is not about convincing one side or the other. It's more about laying things on the line factually, and then whoever wants to believe whatever it is that they want to believe, they can pick and choose what they want to believe based on the evidence that is all laid out. But you're dealing with somebody who's a little bit more aggressive, and I feel like that's what's really going to be like getting under your skin just a little bit for this month. You feel like everything is a little bit of a battle, and you just want to, you know, enjoy life. So I feel like that's what's coming in. So they're telling you, assess the situation, pick your battles, okay? And honestly, if someone is constantly giving you that sense of like defensiveness or defensive energy whenever you're dealing with them, it's really important to know that it's because, you know, they're like that because you are bringing about, you're challenging the established norms, you're challenging their way of life, and they feel very, very threatened. So be very delicate in how you handle situations, in how you handle like volatile, defensive people. Just be very, very careful, because what I feel is like, it's telling you to assess, okay? Assess where the other person is coming from, and then catering the communication in a way where, you know, you establish like causal chain of events, so that you can tell them, you know, here's what it is in the past, here's what it is now, and here's what it's going to be like in the future. So if you do it in a very methodical, in a very structured way, you're going to win over some allies, and you're going to be able to get them to see your point of view and to see things from your end, because I feel like you're challenging somebody's status quo, and I feel like they're doing it unintentionally. Like they're not even aware of it. But what you're saying might be a little bit more progressive, might be a little bit more I don't feel you're the unconventional types. Aquarius are not Libras. I feel that what you're saying is a lot more factual, is a lot more progressive, and this is based on, you know, newest findings, newest development, so you know what you're talking about. And as a result, somebody who's really like fixed in their opinions, they might have outdated opinions. Honestly, they might have like um I want to say like they're just really conservative, and you're going to encounter this energy. Okay, so Libras, I feel like you're going to be okay, but it's going to feel a little bit frustrating. All right, having to like explain yourself all the time. I feel like that's what's happening for this month, and it's going to feel a little bit frustrating. So let me go into your love relationship reading and see what's going on for you guys. I'm using a different spread. This is the one that I just created, and I started with challenge. Okay, I need one more. Okay. What is the advice? Okay, so I'm going to go over the spread and I'm going to explain how it works, okay? This is just a trial run just to see how things go, and then we'll go from there. So first of all, the overall energy here is the Seven of Cups. This is a very similar energy to what I felt last month when I mentioned that in the past you've had a lot of options laid out in front of you. And I feel like this is the month in which, you know, these options are dwindling down. So you are narrowing your options when it comes to the love relationship front. You are also, I feel that whatever fantasies you've had, or even like, you know, sense of idealism that you've had regarding love, commitment, relationships, how long things are supposed to last, whether or not marriage is supposed to last, all of these things are coming up for re-examination for this month, okay? In the challenge position, we have here the Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups is overcoming sadness, regrets, or dealing with sadness and regrets from a previous situation that did not work out too well, okay? A lot of you might be dealing with a water sign at this present moment, and there is some difficulties in getting the relationship going in a smooth, harmonious manner. The Seven of Cups and the Five of Cups, this water, heavy water energy, I feel that you might be dealing with a water sign that is not in accordance with your own path. One person might want a family and the other person might not want the same things. So there's definitely some differences in values and in, like, you know, the direction of the relationship. You love, like, I feel like you care about one another. You might love one another, but there are some mitigating factors that's making it really difficult to form a relationship and to form a harmonious union together as a unit, okay? So these cards like mirror one another. So we're going to go from the ends into the middle. So the first thing here is we do have the Nine of Swords, and the Nine of Swords usually indicates a situation where somebody might be dealing with a lot of stress, a lot of strain, a lot of things that are creeping up in their environment that's causing worries and concerns, okay? And I feel like for some of you, it might come through the work environment. So you or your partner could be dealing with some type of stress, strain regarding their work environment, regarding their public image. And it's also being brought in to affect the current relationship that you're in. We do have here the Eight of Cups as well as the High Priestess. The High Priestess is a situation where some information is being revealed, okay? It's the whole unveiling process where you're able to see a situation very clearly, exactly for exactly what it is, and you're going to have to decide what you need to do. With the Eight of Cups in the reverse position, it signifies to me going back to a previous situation because some information came to light and you're going to have to go back in order to fix it, or in order to communicate, or in order to re-engage with the other person. So I feel like for some of you, if you have recently walked away from a water sign has recently walked away from you, there's some information coming back to light here and you might be tempted to take a step back. And I feel like the information that comes in, if it's giving you additional insight so that you can go back and fix a situation, is definitely worth it. It's definitely worth doing, and I feel like it's going to be in your best interest to try to do that. What's coming in next here is the Four of Wands as well as the Tower. So both of these cards indicate to me there might have been a major breakdown in a relationship in the past, okay? The Tower's in the reverse position, so I feel like this is something that's already done and over with. And with the Four of Wands, it indicates like, you know, having somebody in our lives that are not looking for marriage, not looking for stability. And it's really hard to work together with this person and come into like a mutual understanding that, you know, you want the same things from life. You want stability and you want commitment. So I feel like this is the month. I feel like this is the energy that you're bringing to the table as well. And if you are dealing with someone, especially, I see a lot of water energy. I feel water and fire, actually. So I feel like the fun and excitement trumps everything else. So I feel that this is the month in which you are realizing, I have to leave this relationship behind. I'm going to new things, okay? So I see a heavy energy here shifting from water into fire. So water signs of Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And then we have like fire signs, which is more like the Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. So that's the energy I feel coming through for you. Whatever situation that you've left in the past, I feel that there's still a lot of emotions tied up with it. And I feel that you might opt to become friends rather than just, you know, cutting them off completely. You might opt to become friends. And I feel like if that's something that was implemented recently, just be very clear with the new relationship partner if they're coming through, okay? For others of you who are in committed relationships, and I feel like if you were in a very long-standing type of marriage, love affair that has been a little bit rocky, and especially if you or your partner travel a lot, and if your partner travel a lot, if you know that you're faithful, and if your partner's traveling a lot, I feel like there's temptation here, and there might be some information coming to light regarding some type of an indiscretion. And I feel like you might have, if it already happened, you are moving on to a new relationship. You've left that situation behind. You didn't forgive. And I feel like there might be, you know, you might get more communication from that person, but I feel like it involves somebody traveling a lot and having indiscretions, like affairs and things like that coming through, okay? In terms of your advice, here's what I'm feeling. We do have the Three of Cups in the reverse position. This is a three people type of an involvement where, you know, like you might have a lot of options. You might have narrowed down your options, and now you're down to like two people, and you're trying to choose between them. One of them might still be a water sign, an a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. The other person might just be an air sign, okay? So this is Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. So you've got some pretty hefty options that are made available to you. And in terms of your advice when it comes to love and relationships, they're basically telling you go with the solid, go with the pragmatic choice, and go with the choice that's giving you that sense of independence, okay? Go with someone who's already very independent. They're not needy, and they're going to give you the proper space. And they're also the healthier relationship partner. So I feel like in the past you might have dealt with people that, you know, they needed a lot of saving. It seemed like they had broken wings. They came from troublesome family situation, broken homes. They might have gotten out of relationships too, like a significant relationship, like a marriage situation, failed engagement, and all of these things. And they're a little bit like broken. And I feel like when you dealt with them, you felt something was off. you felt almost like, why are they like this? Why are they so commitment phobic? Why are they so like nonchalant about, wanting to build something together? And why are they always blowing hot and cold? And I feel like some information is coming to light for this month, which is going to give you a lot of access to the other person's psyche, to understand where they're coming from, and to understand like why they are like the way they are. And a lot of it has to do with, childhood conditioning, broken homes types of situation. And I feel like there's something here about someone feeling jaded, someone feeling like, oh, I don't really believe in love anymore. I know that it exists, but I don't feel that it's for me, so I want to play the field. So it can come in from your energy that you're bringing to the table, or from other people that you're dealing with. But I feel that overall sense of like, um, feeling a little bit jaded, feeling a little bit disenchanted when it comes to love and relationships, and trying to establish a family with another person. You're also dealing with discordant energies regarding, dealing with like a water sign from the past, and it was a very, very heavy emotional experience. And right now you're just like, I want freedom. I want to move about, and I don't want, someone to rely so much on me. So you're seeking somebody who is a lot more independent, who's a lot more self-possessed, firm in their beliefs and their convictions. Okay. So I do feel it is going to be a very good month when it comes to singles who are out there dating. You at least know what you want, and you're not looking for heavy emotional entanglements, and you're not looking for people who are broken or who needs a lot of saving. Okay, so you are devoting your time more to like people who are a little bit more grounded, mature, emotionally, mentally, and just they're just strong. You want like the strong partner. You want somebody to be your equal, because I feel like you know what you want, and you've been through that tough relationship in the past, and you have a lot of information about where you need to go and where you need to be, and as a result of it, you're seeking somebody like-minded. What I'm also feeling when I mentioned that you're dealing with a lot of people, I feel like I don't feel the temptation is coming from your end. I don't sense that. I don't feel that you're the one fluctuating here, because I feel like you know what you want. So I feel like you're very, very directed and very, like solid as to what you want. So I mentioned that there are a lot of options being made available to you, okay? And you might have finalized some plans, like you might have chosen some people. You might have 2 people, 4 options, or something like that. And I feel that you do want to socialize. You do want to have fun. You want to enjoy yourself. So I feel like the other people might be pushing you for a commitment, especially if you're dealing with a water sign. A Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, I feel like they might want to push you for a commitment, but I feel they're not emotionally ready. Okay, they might want the security. They're just not ready. I don't feel that they're ready. I feel like they have a lot of issues that they're trying to work out in their own lives. So this is a card here that signifies that to me. It seems like it's somebody who's had like a few failed relationships, and they have trouble with getting themselves back on their own 2 feet and being alone. They have trouble doing that. And I feel like you're very happy, you're very content being alone, and you're very strong in your foundation. So you don't really want that heavy emotional burden where you have to, play therapist to another person. So you're dealing with someone who's like that, who's like kind of melancholic and kind of somber, and they don't know how to help themselves. That's what I'm sensing. And I feel like if this is something you're dealing with, I feel like towards the end of the month, you're going to have to cut some ties, and you're going to have to go for the more energetically fun, energetically vibrant type of a relationship partner, okay? So it's really important to know Libras are very indecisive. I feel like when it comes to, you're indecisive when you have to choose between 2 things or 2 or multiple things that you want. But when it comes to knowing what you want, you always know what you want. Air signs always know. On a deep-rooted intellectual or even emotional level, air signs know. But I do sense that some things are happening for this month that's going to really solidify, your belief system And I feel like you're dealing with people that have boundary issues, and it's forcing you to draw your line in the sand. You're also dealing with some really fun people, and it's going to bring about new opportunities in your life. So as a result, you might not want to be tied down, okay? I feel for those of you in coupled relationships, partners might have some troubles on the work front. They need your emotional support. They're going to need your emotional support, okay? And be very patient with them. Humor them. I feel like taking them to a place where, you know, they can enjoy themselves and have a little bit of laughter and fun. I feel that's going to be good for them, okay? So I do wish you all the best, Libras. Enjoy your time celebrating your birthday, and take care of yourself. I'll be back in the mid-month reading. If you like a private reading with me, please visit my website where you can book a reading for yourself. I've also included a donation link in the description. Bye-bye.